Ramon Dekkers was one of the most ferocious fighters to have ever lived. Having competed during the golden era of Muay Thai, Dekkers was a pioneer of the Dutch style of fighting, and his victories over the best Thai fighters of the era influenced millions and helped to inspire future generations. With his powerful punches, brutal kicks, and the ability to combine the two together, Dekkers was one of the most powerful fighters in history. But before he could start unloading, he first needed to close the distance, and he had a number of ways to do this. The first was the jab. Dekkers used jabs from the outside to corner his opponents and slowly back them up to the ropes. His jab was a threat in its own right, as he loaded it up significantly to generate a lot of power. Here, Dekkers feints a jab to set up a body shot, which allows him to get a whole combination off. Another of Dekkers' tools was the teep, or push kick, which he often used to push opponents back and corner them. Another key component of Ramon's style was his upper body rotation. He would move his upper body as he was throwing combinations, both loading more power into his punches and finding new lines of attack. Here, watch how after throwing multiple punches, Dekkers leans to his left, both loading up that side and finding the angle to land a body shot. Watch this combination. Notice how Dekkers' upper body rotation from the outside allows him to conceal the beginning of his first punch, getting into range to combo off. He does a similar thing here, using head movement to conceal the beginning of his low kick. Here, he moves his head to the inside of his opponent's outstretched arm, allowing him to get in range to land a combination. A somewhat unusual aspect of Dekkers' style is his tendency to frame or reach out with his right hand. While this was somewhat unusual, it helped to load up his left hook with more power. In this clip, he reaches out with his right hand, and then uses a head movement feint to get into range to land a body shot into head kick. From here, he can combo off on his opponent. When at long range, Ramon favored a narrow stance, and this allowed him to easily check kicks. Part of the reason Dekkers' push kicks were so fast was his narrow stance, where it's much easier to lift your front leg. Of course, when he had an opponent hurt or on the ropes, he would transition into a wider stance to better generate power. When it came to blocking body kicks, Dekkers favored a classic Dutch block, absorbing with both arms, which allowed him to either counter or simply keep moving forward. As for blocking punches, Ramon favored a high guard. He kept his hands extremely high, meaning punches mostly deflected off of his forearm or elbow instead of hitting his glove. And while this did leave his body quite exposed, he often moved back while using this guard, both limiting opportunities for his opponents to capitalize on the exposed body and reducing the amount of damage he actually absorbs by moving with the momentum of the punches. From this guard, he often pivoted to reclaim center ring. He also liked countering from it, punishing opponents for attacking. One of his favorite counters was the low kick, either after defending punches or to counter his opponent's kicks. While his high guard was very effective on its own, he mixed it with other methods such as long guards, head movement, or even cross guards based on what the situation demanded. The key is that Dekkers remained defensively responsible while dishing out punishment. Now let's talk about Dekkers' famous roundhouse kicks. Dekkers' roundhouse kicks were extremely powerful, and they often made opponents spin, drop, or even fly. When Dekkers did these kicks, he took a hard step and fully turned his body, swinging his leg through like a lumberjack chopping down a tree. He also liked targeting his opponent's support leg as they tried to check. Because these kicks were so highly telegraphed, Dekkers had a number of methods to set them up. The first was to use them as a counter. Ramon also loved using feints to set up these kicks, giving a slight head nod to condition the opponent to the beginning of the motion, and then attacking when they thought themselves safe. While Dekkers' kicks were vicious all on their own, his real expertise was mixing punches with his kicks. When Dekkers punched, he moved his opponent's weight to their opposite foot, which he could then target with a kick. He would often go multiple punches into a kick. When he was unloading punches on a defensive opponent, they would often try to circle out, but this led them directly into the path of his roundhouse kicks. Watch how Dekkers seamlessly combines punching and kicking to overwhelm his opponent. Dekkers was also a big fan of switching stances at long range, moving from southpaw with his right leg forward to orthodox with his left leg forward. This allowed him to spot new lines of attack to surprise his opponent. Here, Ramon shifts from orthodox into southpaw while at long range to set up a push kick. In this clip, he switches to southpaw and then blocks his opponent's roundhouse kick. He then probes with his lead hand, enticing his opponent to probe back to match him. He then throws a cross at his opponent's exposed chin and follows it up with a brutal roundhouse kick as his opponent drops. Dekkers was undoubtedly a truly legendary fighter. Not only did his highlight reel knockouts make him a fan favorite, but his ferocious fighting style inspired generations to come and greatly shaped the future of martial arts. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking, subscribing, or sharing your opinions down below. And as always, thank you for watching.